not everybody. Does it matter? Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Renee. I'm with Wyoming Retirement System. Cathy Corso works in our section. She's going to be doing the presentation. I was just going to tell you a little bit about Cathy. She does the state payroll. So when the state auditor's office, SAO, sends the file to us, she uploads it. She works through all the errors, all the violations. She works with all of you ladies if you need help on uploading new employees. I don't know. She does a lot. I used to do the state payroll, and it's not easy. So I'm thankful she's here now. I can just sit back and watch and pitch in if she needs me. So she's just going to give you some information about Wyoming Retirement System and how important your job is to us to ensure that the employees' accounts are whole and that we have the information we need. So go get them, girl.
Anyway, I'm privileged to be here today to speak to all of you. I'd like to thank you all for the hard work you do in helping the state of Wyoming employees to build financial security for members and their families through your participation with the Wyoming Retirement System. You know, they say that financial resources may be the lifeblood of a company, but human resources are the brains. That's what I hear. So tomorrow, Polly Scott will be here to talk about the Deferred Compensation Plan as an additional resource for helping members reach their retirement goals. I'm certain she'll have valuable information for you. And like I said, Renee is also here with me. Our section assists over 700 employers who participate in the Wyoming Retirement System, and that includes about 90 state agencies. So today we're going to discuss the RAIN system, focusing primarily on the employer portal, and we'll also discuss some different employee classifications regarding retirement contributions. I realize that there may be some information that some of you are familiar with, but our goal is to shed some light on some of the processes when using the RAIN employer portal for those of you who are not familiar with it, and I'll also be providing new information for all of you. So I've included an outline in your packet on what I'll be speaking about today that you can follow along with. So RAIN is an acronym for Retirement Administration and Investment Network and was implemented in 2014. The RAIN system was developed to allow the functions that were previously done on hard copies to be handled online. The system also allows employers to have immediate access to new employee account IDs once their information is uploaded in RAIN, instead of having to call WRS to obtain the ID. I apologize for my voice, I've got a bit of a cold. There are two different user interfaces which you will use to access the RAIN system: the WRS RAIN Employer Portal and the Participant Portal. The WRS RAIN Employer Portal is different from the Participant Portal in that the Participant Portal is used to access your personal RAIN account as an employee. However, everything you enter on the Employer Portal is reflected in the employee's accounts. So we'll focus on the Employer Portal, which is a web browser program used by employers to access their accounts and perform various other operations. We're not going to cover the entire Employer Portal today, but we will discuss the topics related to the most frequently asked questions. So we'll begin at the beginning, which is accessing and logging into the Employer Portal. You can access the portal on the WRS website at retirement.wyo.gov and click on the employer login rectangle on the right side of the homepage, or you can go directly to wrsemployer.wyo.gov, and both of these are referenced on your handout. Once you've accessed the portal, if you're a representative of more than one agency, you will see a list of agencies to choose from. You can switch between these after choosing Select Organizations. After selecting the agency you want to work with, you will be taken to the home screen where you will see account information, a list of representatives, and recent uploads. Now, administrators and representatives are the employees who are allowed to log on to the employer portal on behalf of the agency. Only administrators and WRS have the ability to add or remove representatives. It's a good idea to check your list of representatives and make sure it's current, and to remove any representatives who are no longer with your agency. Also, please keep WRS updated of any contact changes, whether they are new to your agency or have moved on, because we keep the agency contacts in a separate database. Be aware that at-will employees, or AWACs, are grouped under Agency 743 rather than the agency number that is used for permanent employees. If you don't have access to Agency 743 and need it for AWAC employees, please contact us. In the portal, there are two templates you will use. The employee template, which is used to add new employees to the RAIN system, and the payroll contribution template, which is used to terminate employees and add, continue, or end service breaks. Each month, WRS has around 150 little roadblocks that we run into when we're posting the state payroll in RAIN. Each of these have to be looked into before we can complete the posting process. Most of them have to do with entering new employees, service breaks, and terminations. So they say that mistakes are the growing pains of wisdom, but maybe you're like me, I never make the same mistake twice. No, I make it 5 or 6 times, just to be sure. So today we hope to clarify some of the processes regarding RAIN to make your life easier. One of the roadblocks we run into is that new employees have not been added to the RAIN system, but there's contributions to report on the payroll. So please upload new employees if there will be contributions and hours on the file for that month. So to add new employees, you'll use the first of the two templates I referenced, which is the employee template. I've included a screenshot in your handout of what that looks like, of both templates, just a partial template on there. On the main menu, you'll click on Upload Download from the selections at the top of the home page and scroll down to the third option, Download Employee Template. An Excel spreadsheet will open. Move to the left of the spreadsheet and you will see the columns A and B are pre-filled with the employer name and employer RAIN ID for up to 4 employees. If you're enrolling less than 4 employees, delete the lines you do not need. Complete the information corresponding to the blue headers in row 1, noting that all items in the header with an asterisk are required fields. Be sure to note that some have drop-down menus to select from. So take special care to ensure the Social Security number is entered correctly. An erroneous Social Security number results in either bad information in the WRS database or an employee having 2 accounts if they were previously enrolled in the retirement system. This may create problems when the employee tries to access their account via the participant portal, as well as causing delays when they're trying to refund or retire. If you find that you've made a mistake on the upload, whether it be a wrong Social Security number, wrong birthday, start date, turn date, misspelling, etc., please contact us as soon as possible. Once the information is uploaded in RAIN, you cannot change it. Only WRS can make the change. When you enter a new employee, it's important that an email address is included on the template. It is recommended that a personal email address is used so they will still have access to their account should they leave your agency. This email serves as their login credential to the portal and primary communication for their account. So once you've completed the spreadsheet, you'll need to save it. The next step is to go to Upload Download again, and this time select Upload Employees. Choose the file you just saved and upload it. If you receive an error message when adding new employees that the expected name is different than what WRS currently has in the system, this means that the employee has at some point worked for another employer that participates in the retirement system, and the employee's name is changed. This might be due to marriage, divorce, or whatever. So one thing I want to mention here is that the retirement system is portable, meaning that an employee may have worked for another agency that is not a state agency, yet the employee still participated in the retirement system. For example, they can work for a school, a town, and DOT, but will have one account in the pension plan under all three employers. So in order to have the name corrected, please have the employee complete the WRS-3 account information form, which I've included in your packet, and fax it to WRS along with required documentation that's listed on the form as soon as possible. Excuse me. After WRS has entered the correction, you may upload your new employee information. A list and copies of the forms I am mentioning today and the website is included in your handout because I'm going to be mentioning several forms today. So if an employee transfers from one state agency to another, new employee information must be uploaded in RAIN by the agency the employee is transferring to, and a termination must be uploaded in RAIN by the agency the employee is transferring from. So once you upload the new employee information, the RAIN ID is immediately available. You can find this number in one of two ways. From the Upload/Download menu on the home page, choose Download Cross-Reference. This will list all employees by Social Security number. The other way to find the RAIN ID is to click on Download Contribution Template from the Upload/Download menu on the home page. Open the Excel spreadsheet and the new employee will be listed at the bottom of the spreadsheet. Once you have the RAIN ID, you can enter the information in the PIN screen immediately. We cannot upload the contributions in our system without a RAIN ID. If you need assistance on where to put the RAIN ID in the PIN screen or any PINs related questions, please contact SAO. The employee is responsible for the beneficiary information on their account. Employers cannot add beneficiaries to a member's account. It's extremely important to have a beneficiary designated in the case of a member passing away. There are two ways that a beneficiary designation can be added to a member's account. When an email is included on the employee template upload, the new employees will automatically receive an email notification to use the participant portal to add their own beneficiaries. Please let the new employees know to expect this email and to click the activation link within 4 days. If the employee does not activate their RAIN account within that time frame, they should contact WRS and ask for a new activation email. If an employee does not have an email address, WRS will need to add the beneficiaries for them. In that case, please have the employee fax or send the completed and notarized WRS-2 beneficiary form to the fax number or address listed on the form. Note that this form does need to be notarized. Please emphasize how important it is to have the beneficiaries added to their account. And I also want to mention here that it's important to remind employees how essential it is to keep their information current. If they move, they will need to make sure we have the current address on file. Each year when statements are sent out, we have a large amount returned as undeliverable due to WRS not having a current address on file. Also, if the member marries or divorces or has another life event happen, we need to make sure their designated beneficiaries are current, because we don't want a scenario where someone divorces, remarries, and doesn't change the beneficiary from their divorced spouse to their current spouse if that was their intent, and then passes away. So now we'll discuss some of the different classifications of employees. So I've included literature on all but the AWAC employees in the handout for your reference. So AWAC employees, also known as at-will employees, may elect to participate in the WRS Public Employee Plan. The employee is responsible for paying the employee and employer contributions. Once the election is made, it is irrevocable for the duration of the contract. The AWAC employee is responsible for paying the required contributions until a new contract is negotiated and signed. They cannot opt out after 6 months on a 1-year contract, for example. Per statute 9-3-402, an employee whose term of employment for a position that is on a temporary basis for less than 6 months is not considered a member, and WRS does not expect contributions on behalf of such employees. WRS interprets the statute to require contributions for employees whose term of employment is longer than 6 months, even if the employee is considered a temporary employee by the agency. I know some agencies consider their temporary employees 9 months, but if they work longer than 6 months, they have to pay the contributions have to be paid. In instances where an employer had not been paying contributions for an employee because their term of employment was less than 6 months, but then the term of employment was extended beyond the 6 months, WRS will bill for the contributions and interest back to the date of hire. In the event that a temporary employee accepts a new and distinct permanent position, WRS will bill for contributions beginning with the date of hire for the permanent position. Any questions on that? No? Okay, so the basic rule for part-time employees is that they're regular and that they're permanent employees, are part-time and that they work 25 hours or more per week. And they're part-time and that they work 25 hours, work less than 25 hours per week if an employer has a more inclusive definition of regular part-time. In other words, if an employer has historically covered part-time employees who work less than 25 hours per week, they must continue to do so. Seasonal employees are guaranteed a seasonal position each year without having to go through the reapplication process and are not considered a temporary employee even if the term of the seasonal employment is less than 6 months. If the seasonal hours worked are equivalent to a full-time or regular part-time position, contributions must be paid to WRS. Before an employee can take a lump sum payment or monthly retirement benefit, he or she must terminate employment with all agencies participating in the Wyoming retirement system, even if the position is seasonal. So we'll now go to our discussion about rehired retirees. So statute 9-3-415 describes when a retiree can return to work. A rehired retiree is a WRS retired member who returns to work for an employer within the same plan from which they originally retired, filling a vacant full-time position. If they retire from one plan and come to work in a different plan, they are not a rehired retiree. For example, a member retires from the law enforcement plan and goes to work for health under the public employee plan. They would not be considered a rehired retiree because these are two separate plans. So the Department of Health would upload the information as a new employee, not a rehired retiree. Rehired retirees are only eligible under the public employee, law enforcement, and guard firefighter plans. An employee does not have to be retired from the state only to be a rehired retiree. They may have retired from a school district or a county, for example, but if they're returning to work in the same plan from which they are drawing a retirement benefit, they are a rehired retiree. If a retiree of any of the three eligible plans who has met all of the requirements for retirement eligibility and has a bona fide break in service of not less than 30 days returns to work for a participating employer within the same plan, they can elect either to continue receiving benefits and not contribute to the system, or discontinue retirement benefits and begin making contributions to the system again. So they have a choice there. If the retiree stops their benefit and starts contributing again, it does not always result in a higher monthly benefit when the member retires a second time. WRS recommends that the retiree contact one of our benefits specialists for one-on-one counseling prior to making all decisions relevant to retirement. A retiree from a plan that does not have the rehired retiree provision can still return to work for an employer in that plan, but does not have a choice as to whether or not their benefit will be stopped. Without the rehired retiree provision, the default is the retiree is required to stop their benefit and start contributing again. The retiree's benefit will be affected when they retire the second time. So the rehired retiree retirement eligibility requirements are that a member must actually be retired in order to be eligible to become a rehired retiree. The member has to have terminated their working career for a salary and has to have met all of the requirements for eligibility to receive a retirement benefit. And that includes having a retirement application on file with WRS. Wyoming law and the Internal Revenue Service Code provisions require a bona fide break in service between a retiree's retirement date and the date of reemployment in the system. Current Wyoming law requires a break in service of at least 30 days. A member is not considered to be retired if a pre-existing arrangement to return to work or any promise of future employment exists with the participating WRS employer at the time of the member's retirement. If the retiree is volunteering to get through the 30-day break in service and then intends to return to work, this is considered a pre-existing arrangement. The employer must upload a termination and WRS must have received all final contributions. The rehired retiree is filling a vacant full-time position. Remember, it's the position that is important. A vacant full-time position is defined as a position for which a full month of service credit is earned. In the public employee, law enforcement, and guard firefighter plans, that is 86 hours a month or 20 hours a week. This is not the same as the hours for part-time, and this definition is not based on the employer's definition of full or part-time employment. Again, it's the position the retiree is filling. It doesn't matter if the rehired retiree is called a consultant or a contract employee. If the retiree will be responsible for the same duties as that of a regular contributing employee, the rehired retiree payment will be required. This includes the retiree is filling a vacant full-time position that would typically pay into WRS. The retiree is responsible for the same duties as a regular full-time position employee. The position was a full-time position before the member retired. The employer doesn't fill the vacant full-time position because the rehired retiree is now responsible for those duties. And the position has been changed to a job share being filled by 2 or more employees or retirees. If the position is a vacant full-time position that the rehired retiree is filling, even if it is for less than 6 months, the rehired retiree payment is required. For example, someone is out for 3 months due to a car accident, and a rehired retiree is filling that position while the employee is recovering. This is not considered a temporary position because the position itself is a permanent full-time position. An employer that hires a retiree into a vacant full-time position within the same plan from which the retiree originally retired is required to pay the rehired retiree payment if the member elects to continue their retirement benefit. No additional service credit will accrue for the member during the period of their second employment. The rehired retiree payment is equivalent to the normal employee and employer contributions for employees of that plan. And so recently, just this week, we have hot off the press, and I've just given you a copy of it. The WRS 9 is now called the WRS Retiree Returning to Work Form, and there are some changes on that. This must be completed and returned within 10 days of reemployment, regardless of whether or not the rehired retiree payment is being paid for the individual. If you need additional copies, please go to our website and download the latest version. Do not use the older versions of the WRS 9. This applies to all of the forms that I've included. Please make sure you're using the latest version and discard any older ones, because we do make changes periodically on all of those. So now we're going to discuss service breaks and terminations. So after the payroll contribution posting has been finalized, WRS sends an email to SAO to notify all agencies that they can proceed with terminations in rain. We ask that you wait until you receive this notification before uploading any terminations that had contributions to post for that month or any new service breaks that are starting. We want to make sure that all final contributions have been posted before the terminations are uploaded. We also include an attachment to the email that has a lot of useful information, and I've included that in your handout as well. So service breaks and terminations are uploaded on the payroll contribution template. That's the second template I talked about. You'll find this template under Upload Download on the home page, but this time select Download Contribution Template. It's the first option. When you open the Excel spreadsheet, all currently active employees will appear. So you'll need to delete all the employees except for the ones you want to terminate or add, continue, or end service breaks. So you'll need to select termination, start service break, continue service break, or end service break from the drop-down menu in the record type column, which is in column K. Please be sure to upload service breaks when the employee goes out on a break. If an employee is on a service break and there are no contributions to report because of the break in service, but this break has not been entered in RAIN, the system only sees that there are missing contributions, and we have to investigate as to why there aren't any contributions being reported. So there's been a change as to when to add a service break for FMLA. Previously, we stated to only put an employee on a service break for FMLA if there will not be a salary and hours reported for that month. The new change is that now you're going to enter the FMLA service break even if there are hours to report. This will help to explain the low salary and hours when audits are done on the members' accounts. And we've added another option now for leave without pay. And until recently, we had you choose FMLA because we didn't have the leave without pay option, but it is now available. So choose the leave without option pay instead of FMLA like we previously had you doing. Employees that are on a service break for workers' comp or military leave should be put on break even if they are only out for a short period of time or if a reduced salary or hours will be reported. Each month the employee is out, you'll need to enter a continued service break. Please be sure to end service breaks in a timely manner prior to the next payroll upload if contributions and hours will be reported on that payroll. When you terminate an employee, wait until the final contributions have been processed by WRS before uploading a termination. Since some of an hourly employee's pay may not be reported until the following month, please wait until we have received all of the contributions before terming. If the employee's final pay was a hand warrant, it will be reported to WRS the following month. We get one spreadsheet from SAO once a month, and that's it, so we won't get that information until the following month. So please wait until all the contributions have been processed before terminating. If they've been on a service break and then are terming because they don't come back to work, you'll need to enter the service break information on one line and the termination information on a second line. Once the template's been completed for service breaks and/or terminations, save the file, go back into Upload Download, select Upload Contributions, and then choose the file you just saved and upload. So when we receive contributions on a month that's already processed, we will bill prior contribution interest. This will be billed directly to the individual agency, and an email will be generated by RAIN and sent to the owning agency advising them that the bill is owed. Please make sure these get to the appropriate personnel so that the bill is paid by the due date or additional interest charges will be billed. Failure to pay the invoice in a timely manner can also result in delays processing a member's refund or retirement. Note that if you're an agency that also has law enforcement, Warden and Patrol, or AWAC, the RAIN system does not differentiate between agencies as they all roll up under the umbrella of that particular plan. Because the system only sees the invoices as law enforcement, for example, you may receive an invoice that belongs to another agency that is also in law enforcement. If the invoice is for an employee that does not belong to your agency, please ignore it. You can always access the invoices from the employer portal. They're listed on the bills/invoices on the right-hand side of the homepage. Occasionally, WRS will need to process an adjustment to a member's account for a prior month. When this is done, the system automatically generates an interest invoice and will send an email to the agency advising of the interest due. If it's determined that the agency does not owe this interest due to the adjustment, we will send you an email notifying you of such. But these are system-generated emails, and they go out as soon as I process the adjustment. If you have any questions regarding those invoices, when you get those, you can always call and ask. So regarding adjustments, if you find that contributions were not reported in the month they should have been, do not add it to the current month. You will need to contact SAO for an adjustment for the month the contributions represent. This also includes any hours that were missed. If you find out after payroll is processed that there was pay that was missed, make sure SAO is aware that the salary, hours, and contributions are for the correct event date. We also appreciate any heads up that the adjustments are coming, and we'll watch for them when we receive the payroll information from SAO. So during the 2018 legislative session, this resulted in employer and employee contribution rate changes for the public employees plan. The most recent rate increase took effect on September 1st. The rate increase went from 2.68 to 2.93% for a total employee contribution of 8.5%. And the employer contribution increased from 8.37 to 8.62%. Each July until the year 2021, both amounts will increase by 0.25%. And I've included a chart of the increases in your packet. So I've included our WRS website in this handout. It's a good idea to visit our website. There's a lot of useful information for both employers and employees. You can also access the participant portal and the employer portal from our website. For instance, under the employer tab, you can find topics relating to pension eligible compensation. We get a lot of questions on what is and isn't eligible. Determining pension eligibility and plan, and many of the topics I've discussed today. Under the Members tab, there's a list of forms. They can apply for retirement or request an estimate. But if they have any questions related to an individual account, do not have them call Employer Relations. Please refer them to the Benefits section or the 457 Deferred Compensation section. And I've included the phone numbers on your handout for those. You can also download the handbooks, and there's a lot of good information, questions and answers in all the handbooks, and it's for each individual plan. So, and then again, I've got the forms here that are most common. The WRS-3 information change is to be used for name changes and address changes. And for the name changes, we do require documentation, and it's listed on that form. The WRS-2 beneficiary form, again, signatures have to be notarized. And the WRS-9 retiree returning to work form is under the Employers tab, not the Members tab on our website. On the last page, I've listed how you can contact us. It's got our phone numbers and emails for our section, and as well as deferred comp and member benefits. So again, I thank you for your time today. It looks like it's lunchtime, so I'll let you go.